Minister of Niger Delta and the President of Ijaw Youth Council is here, Dr. Tari Theophilus, to discuss this and more. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
So good to have you, Dr. Tari.
Thank you.
Conversations around the Niger Delta takes the front burner at this time, particularly, of course, around youth and sustainable development. But what would you put particularly as strategies before the new Minister of Niger Delta as he settles down into office?
As you know, the Niger Delta Ministry and the Niger Delta as a whole is a peculiar ministry and a peculiar region with specific challenges. And what are those challenges? The Niger Delta over time has faced a lot of youth-related crises, and that is why the ministry was created. The ministry, unlike other mainstream ministries, has a specific purpose. And that specific purpose is to see how the Niger Delta region and its people will be incorporated in terms of development, youth empowerment, and bringing the master plan of the Niger Delta into limelight. So as a new minister, we are calling on him, as Mr. President have rightly said, that they should think development. They should take priority on issues that can bring national unity. So we are charging the minister. We believe Engineer Momo is up to the task, and he will definitely bring a template that will change the narrative of the Niger Delta region and its people, especially youth, because that is where the entire burden lies. Youth in every society, as clearly and rightly said, is the engine room of growth and development. And over time, youth in the Niger Delta have engaged the Nigerian system in a way that wasn't really pleasant. We have had the agitators coming into play as a result of issues of marginalization and underdevelopment. And that is why the late President Omar Musa Yar'Adua, under his watch, created the ministry in 2008, to see how we can cushion up those deficiencies that are being felt in the region. So we understand the Minister of Niger Delta, Engineer Momos, has a very big task ahead of him, because he has to put all these things into place. As a youth president of the largest ethnic bloc in the Niger Delta region, we will support in creating an enabling environment that is going to be business friendly, where we can at least not just look into the oil and gas, but see how we can diversify the economic of the region to see that youth are engaged meaningfully for the development of the Niger Delta.
All right, talking about engagement and meaningful engagement, I hear you say the youth are the engine room of development and growth. Someone else would also say that good governance is the root of development and growth. Now, I mean, in terms of effective leadership, what are the youths from the Niger Delta expecting, considering the fact that in the past there have been reviews and criticisms on projects that have not really come, to the light of day? Are the youths also going to put their eyes, on as a watchdog to demand for, outcomes on those projects, and that those projects are also for the benefit of the Niger Delta?
Yeah, exactly. Because over time, asking for accountability has always been an issue in the Nigerian system. Youth, based on the request to know what is happening in agencies and ministries, have been carrying out protests. But the wrong signal is always given that it was because youth are trying to be carried along, or they needed some level of, how am I going to put it, a bribe from those agencies and ministries. But under this new administration of IYC and other youth organizations within the Niger Delta, what we will be asking for is accountability. Because the little fund that is being sent to these our agencies, interventionist agencies and the ministries, we want projects that are going to be life-changing, and not as business as usual, where people will come in, bring in ambiguous budgets with zero projects, with nothing to account for. That time has come and gone. Under our watch, we will follow every agencies, every ministry that has to do with the Niger Delta for good governance. So what we'll be asking from them is accountability. Let there be transparency and accountability, so that the little resources that is being apportioned to our places is used meaningfully for our people and for the development and the growth of our persons. And that is why you see that under my watch, this IYC is coming with a template. And what is that template? To see how we can interface with these agencies, especially the intervention agencies, to see how we can deliberately diversify the economy of the Niger Delta region. Because the problem we are having as people is unemployment. The IOCs operating in the Niger Delta region have decided not to engage our people. When we make those statements, people always think we are being sentimental. But that is the issue on ground. Their inability to incorporate our people, engage them, has been the bone of contention. We have always said it over time. These are IOCs that their operational fields are in the Niger Delta, but their head offices are located elsewhere. And these are the same head offices that are paying tax to those states. You know, Mr. President, that is on board today, the President of Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Ahmed Bola Tinubu, is an industrialist. He understands what it takes to stabilize a region for industries to come in, and we believe he will also replicate that template which he has applied or implemented in Lagos State, that successors have been following up in the Niger Delta, and we believe the Niger Delta is going to diversify its economy. The resources that are coming from the crude and the gas are going to be used for the purpose of diversification, so that we can take our youth off the streets and be engaged meaningfully. That is the template the IYC under the 9th NEC is coming with, to partner with the interventionist agencies, governors, and ministries to see that the Niger Delta is completely revamped of unemployed youth. And we will also engage the IOCs to see how they have to deliberately engage the people of the Niger Delta, because the Local Content Act also made it very clear. You must give us the first right of refusal. It is only when you don't have a competent hand within the Niger Delta that you are ought to look elsewhere for some skills and unskilled labors. But that is not happening. And under my watch, we will definitely engage many of these areas to see how we can take the Niger Delta to a greater height, how we can take the Ijaw nation to a better height by taking our youth off the street, so that the environment will be business friendly, and I believe investors will definitely come in and change the narrative.
If, for example, there is a sustainable youth agenda for development in the Niger Delta region, in specifics, what are some of the things, projects, skills that young people in the Niger Delta can actually key into, which will now serve as a template for the heads of interventionist agencies, and particularly also as the new Minister of Niger Delta settles into office?
Thank you. Like I keep on saying, what we need now is platforms that will definitely engage our youth. We don't really have challenge of skills. If people keep on telling us that it's because as a result of the people of the Niger Delta region is not well trained, or they are not equipped for those exercises, I keep on telling them that is not true. It's completely a big lie. Why am I saying so? Every IOCs, every company have its own standard. That is international best practice. As you are employed, they have their own standard. What you need is the basic knowledge in that field. Go to the Niger Delta. We have trunks of youth that have graduated from universities with a series of skills. They've even gone to acquire other skills, even pipeline welding and all the rest. But they don't have where to engage themselves. So what we are lacking is the platform that will engage them. And that is causing a lot of trouble for us. So if I may, I keep on asking, training, retraining is not really the problem. Engagement, incorporating them into these IOCs for job, for work, is actually the problem. And we have to define that, identify that, so that we will get it right.
So you're saying the skills are not the problem because the skills are there.
They are there.
And then the training and retraining, as fantastic as it is, if they are not, engaged, they have to. Then it means that they may go back to those vices.
Exactly.
So what's the way forward? What would you be, giving as advice to the ministry in terms of engagement, the IOCs, and of course having a conversation around it?
Yeah. Thank you very much. What we are saying is that, number one, we are going to engage with the minister and other government agencies that has to do with the Niger Delta, especially the Ministry of Petroleum, the Niger Delta Ministry, the NDDC, and the local content board, that the IOCs that are operating in our region should at least give us the first right of refusal. In terms of employment, how can you come to a region where you are taking everything off, and even the casual workers, the manual jobs, you see people from other regions? We are not really sentimental, but these are just things that are not too much to ask. This is your primary area of engagement. This is your operational field. This is your operational ground. The environment, at least, we need an enabling environment. And these people have been agitating. Let us be incorporated. So, under my watch, we are coming with a template how we can partner with this person to see how at least those jobs that our people have been well equipped and trained should be given to us. Why the IOCs under the Ministry of Petroleum, NGD, and Gas, and the NNPC look for a way how some of the head offices of these IOCs will be located to their states of operations, so that we will see that there will be synergy between the people, sense of belonging between the people and these IOCs that are operating, like some oil servicing companies. There are dockyards where they are fabricating their equipment ought to be within the Niger Delta, but you go, you don't see any offshore states. So how can you now create the employment opportunities for the people? You can't just come and get what is in the environment and go and you just dump the people, and you are expecting a friendly, business-friendly environment. It's not found. It's not done anywhere. So what we have been asking, and what we keep on asking and pushing, is let us come back to the drawing board, see how we can incorporate the youth within the Niger Delta into the scheme of things. Give us that first right of refusal when it comes to employment. Like the non-skilled staffs, the 70% that ought to be given to the operating areas should be given to them. These are things that we don't need to ask for. That is how the Local Content Act has also been stated clearly. We must be given the first right of refusal while operating, so that the people will have sense of belonging. And I believe the environment will be conducive. Production, both gas and oil, will definitely increase overnight.
All right. For the Minister of Niger Delta Development at this time, what sort of infrastructure do you think should be put in place across the length and breadth of the Niger Delta region to drive sustainable development and also give the people, a sense of belonging?
As I earlier said, the Ministry of the Niger Delta Development, the Ministry of the Niger Delta, is a peculiar ministry that is key and only responsibility is to contribute to the development, those developmental deficiencies that has been identified in the Niger Delta. But this is 21st century. We want the Niger Delta to be more productive. We want to have a productive economy. And as an interventionist ministry, we are appealing and we are going to collaborate with the minister to see that more of industrialization of the Niger Delta should be done. Let the minister of the Niger Delta collaborate with the NDDC, which is an interventionist agency, to see how they can industrialize the Niger Delta. Whatever budget that they will be putting in, let it be that at least 50 to 40% of the revenue, the fund that will be put into the budget, should be apportioned to industrialization of the Niger Delta. So that even after the era of the oil and gas, the Niger Delta people will have something to fall back to. And by so doing, I believe, even with the oil and gas industry booming very well, diversifying the economy of the region definitely will make the environment stable. It will stabilize the business environment for even the IOCs that are having challenges today as a result of youth restiveness in the Niger Delta. So we are going to engage him, and we are praying that he should focus more on industrializing the Niger Delta. Let every budget that will be coming in be focused more on bringing in industries rather than going on with capital projects that over time will not give us the needed results.
Okay, just a follow-up question. Of course, industrialization can be driven by infrastructure, road infrastructure. Let's look at the Niger Delta, for example. What are the strategic road infrastructures that should be put in place or should be completed to drive this development?
Yeah, like the East-West Road in particular has been causing a lot of problem for the people of the Niger Delta. The last year flood took off a large chunk of the East-West Road. Until date, those places has not been repaired. While from the Mbiama to the Port Harcourt axis is completely out of place. The Mbiama to the Yenegua axis, as we speak like this, is an eyesore. So what we are saying is that as a Niger Delta minister, we are even appealing to Mr. President that the Niger Delta East-West Road should be taken off from the Niger Delta Ministry and be given to the Ministry of Works. Because capital projects like the East-West Road is not just a regional project. It's a federal government main project that ought to be looked into. And I believe if taken from the ministry, because the funding system, the budget allocation to the Niger Delta Ministry cannot really meet up with the demands. So we'll see how they can meet up with that. So we are appealing. And before this time, the Niger Delta have a master plan where they were supposed to carry out what we call the shore line road projects that will be connecting all the Niger Delta states. You know, when you go to places like Finland, the way they carry out their road project within the riverine area, that is what was expected. So we are calling on the new Niger Delta Minister, Engineer Momo, and the MD NDDC to see how they can come back and look at the Niger Delta Master Plan that has already been designed, so that some of those things can be put into proper account. Another
area is the well-being and the health of the young people in Niger Delta. And I bring this because of the contamination of the total environment of the area through, because of the toxicity of oil exploration. Of course, they're used to the conversation on the cleaning up and the remediation of the Niger Delta because of the operations of the IOCs. And that's the major issue. And not just because it concerns the young people, but also the family and the women. So how are you also going to look at the issues that bring to the fore in terms of cleaning up and, you know, consistent, deliberate efforts to review what has been done and going forward what must be done in that area?
Yes. You know, the Niger Delta, as I keep on saying, is a peculiar region based on the oil and gas activities that have been happening. Over time, we all are aware of series of spills that have happened, and presently, with what the UNEP report that came up in respect to the Ogoni land that was completely polluted, even after when the IOCs and the operators have said that proper remediation exercise has been carried out. But when an independent body like UNEP was engaged and when the EIA was carried out, the results showed that the entire area is still completely contaminated. You know, remediation by natural attenuation, RENA, that has been the standard that the IOCs has been applying in terms of remediating crude oil polluted sites. And with the findings from the UNEP report, it showed clearly that that practice is not given the needed results based on the volume of crude that has been released to the environment. What are we not saying? We want the Ogoni template that UNEP used in carrying out the EIA exercise in Ogoni land to be replicated in the entire Niger Delta. And let a register be opened to check the health challenges of the people. Because there are new sicknesses